This is King Noble Black Supremacy. With this particular video, I want to talk about psychology as a mass mind control and manipulation strategy. Part 2. Western psychology is a mind control system that's meant to mind control you. It has circumscribed human thought and put it within the context of the matrix that we see today. It has made you accept a preconceived notion about human consciousness. Psychology has done this. That's why a lot of our Eastern yogis and Eastern thinkers were, in the true sense, consciousness revolutionaries, because they revolted or rebelled against Western psychology. It's a revolution that they tried to create in the West, because the West, dealing with Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, created this thing, promoted this thing called psychology. And this psychology has told people that they possess a self somewhere inside of them, and they got to figure this self out. They got to examine this self. This self can have trauma. This self can hold problems. It needs healing. They have created a construct of the self in the West. So yourself is a construct, not who you are. A lot of the Moors and people who were dealing with the UCC, they were saying, I'm not my social security number or my name in all capital letters. That's not me. That's my straw man. That's my corporation. They used to teach this back when the UCC came out. But I would go further. That not only are you not the straw man, are you not the corporation, that you're the living and organic entity, you're not your psychology either. That psychology was meant to trap you and imprison you inside of yourself, so that you couldn't truly manifest the totality of your organic perfection in the physical universe. Once they gave you psychology, they had to give you religion. They had to give you society. They had to socialize you because you have a psychology. It's a form of socialization. They took an infinitely organic being with infinite potential, complex beyond imagination, and trapped that entity within itself after giving it psychology. The psychology they gave you was theirs, and you believe in it. You believe in this thing called sanity and insanity, crazy or non-crazy. And what draws the line is the construct that they gave you. Those are the rules. That's the code enforcement. They gave that to you. And you might not know specifically. It may be a lot of unwritten rules and regulations, but you carry them out, and you continue to look for social proof to make sure that you're in sync and you're falling in line with what that construct is supposed to be. You're constantly checking your behavior. You was born to autopilot to greatness. You was born to autopilot to perfection, but they disrupted your natural organic autopilot system, and then they gave you a psychology, something that is inorganic, that is not real, that's made up by white males. Hitler understood that because he gave all those Germans a psychology, and they start gassing all those Jews. He used propaganda. He understood psychology and the psyche, because even all that is connected into, it's esoteric. It's connected into mysticism, because it's not real. It's a spell. It's a spirit. They just don't use that terminology, but they call it a psychology. But they really messing with your organic, natural spirit, causing a split in your consciousness where you're not fully you. You're two entities. You're the one walking around, and that one walking around must evaluate the other, which is called psychology. So they produce schizophrenia and bipolarism, because now you're two entities swinging back and forth from one entity to the other. And schizophrenic, more than one being, the you that's doing this, that, and the other, and then the psychology about it. And then the two, that then another person is born is trying to figure out them two. And you're completely confused, incapacitated, made disabled, incompetent, totally dependent upon the system, upon them, upon the psychologists. And when that fails, you go to the psychiatrist. And when that fails, you go to the street pharmacist. You go to the bar. And you use your foods as drugs in order to manage this entity that they gave you, so that you can stay within the construct, function within the construct that they created. Not being able to step into the infinite reality of who you are as it manifests. Being in the present. You're carrying this baggage around called the psychology. You are not your psychology. Don't even have one. They gave it to you. That's a program. We talk about artificial intelligence, AI. And a lot of you all are scared of artificial intelligence advancing and progressing, because you believe that they're going to have an artificial intelligence that is the same as human consciousness. That's a challenge to human consciousness. It's more advanced to human consciousness. So you fear artificial intelligence, but not realizing that the first artificial intelligence that was socially engineered was your consciousness. Your consciousness is artificial intelligence, because it's not organic and natural intelligence. Somebody gave it to you. They gave you the parameters of your existence, and the thing that you call you has been socially engineered by scientists. And they socially engineer society with this thing called psychology. So they're so confident about the ability to create artificial intelligence that can imitate man, or be as it more advanced than man, because it's nothing but a duplication of the artificial intelligence that is man. That they're only creating. See, you're not complex. It's true organic intelligence of real man, of a real natural entity. It's very complex. It's infinite. It's infinitely creative. It has no limits. It's very spontaneous. But we don't know that. All we know is the artificially engineered self that was created by psychologists. That's all we know. So that can be imitated because it's not that complex. It's very simple. It stays within a certain guidelines. You think you're thinking. You think you're thinking, but by the time you get through thinking about what you're thinking about, you've canceled out the thoughts that you've had to make your mind conform to the artificial intelligence program that you call human consciousness. You believe that that's human consciousness. It's not. is multiple choice. It is predictable. It is the matrix. Because they got you down to a science. Because the you that you think you are has been scientifically engineered, structured to perceive reality in a certain manner and then react according to that perception to bring about a definite result of your own imprisonment, of your own conformity and obedience to the infrastructure, to the powers that be, to the police state, to the hypnotist in a human form. You've already been programmed to conform to that, and you think you're thinking. You just think you're thinking. It's your psychology. You think you're evaluating yourself and coming up with conclusions and ideas and thoughts about things to do and how to perceive things, and you think you're perfecting and developing yourself within inside of yourself. And that's an illusion. Because physically, your behavior is predictable. Because you keep doing the same thing, thus getting the same result. And that's why society is not changing socially. That's why we're not advancing as a society. That's why this bullshit matrix is not being destroyed and being phased out. Because we're doing the same damn thing. Because we have the same psychology. And the people who market and advertised has mastered that psychology. They has mastered that program, that artificial intelligence that we believe is us. They've mastered it. So they got all the codes and the scripts to make your ass do whatever the fuck they want to do every single day from 9 to 5 and overtime. Make you buy and purchase whatever you want. Make you go and desperately seek your sense of self from a reality that they engineered to fit that model that was created. Call you. So while you worried about artificial intelligence, it's artificial intelligence worried about artificial intelligence. Because if you was an organic, spontaneous, infinitely creative being, you would know that that could not be imitated or duplicated by man. But the fact that you know you're just an artificial program, an artificial script, you fear your replacement through robots. The only difference between the artificial intelligence that they're creating in you is that it is a robot and a machine, and you are a programmed organic entity. They gave you psychology and you caught up there. Everything, the whole selfishness is all about psychology. Everything that you do every single day is based on the psychology that they gave you. Every single thing that you do. Everything that you perceive, they gave you that psychology. All of your judgments, your analysis, your evaluations that make you do the things that every other slave is doing, that every other programmed zombie is doing. You're doing it willingly. And some of you all consider yourselves conscious, but you're just thinking about what you're doing. But you still end up doing the same exact thing that every other fucking zombie is doing every day. Because you think you're thinking. And your thinking does not matter. You have no psychology. You have been programmed. It is not your psychology. You've been given a psychology. You've been given a conclusion. You have been rigged to do what they want you to do. No matter what you think you're thinking, or if you think you're thinking, you're still doing the same goddamn thing. And you have to throw out the psychology altogether. Sounds like I'm asking you to go crazy and be insane. To throw out the idea of a psychology. So that you can be authentic, present. So you can be complete. You can be fully engaged. You can be $150 right now. We talk about keeping it real, but it's very difficult for artificially programmed intelligence to keep any fucking thing real. We talk about stepping outside of the box and waking up your consciousness, waking up from the program, waking up from the script, the monotony, the pre-planned mediocrity for your life that they have already synchronized into some type of marketing strategy or some type of commercial industry or commercial infrastructure. From prison to pipeline, it's a program, a script to make you react to what you're seeing on the screen, make you the music you react to is pre-planned and pre-programmed. You're not the you that you think you are, or you would be doing something different. Not what everybody else is doing. And when your enlightener comes, your redeemer comes, it's already been programmed to look at that person as crazy, to look at the psychology of that entity that does not fit within the framework of the construct that they gave you. So you're automatically going to look at your Messiah as God on earth as crazy. You're going to see that as crazy. You're going to see the one to wake you up to the organic entity and being that you really are as being crazy. Because the psychology has scripted it that way. But you're not going to see waiting on Santa Claus to climb down a chimney as being crazy, or the need for leaning towers and big cartoon characters walking around on the streets in Disney World. You don't see any of that as crazy. That's completely sane. It's your redeemer that you've been taught to look at as crazy. It is the manifestation of the organic intelligence, the higher black God consciousness. That's what you're going to see as crazy. It is rigged into your psychology to see that. But you accept all the craziness of the program. And when somebody bring it to you, say, well, damn, that really is crazy. But you're going to continue to do it and continue to participate in it. You're going to continue to want to be a part of that reality, of that illusion. Because you're not thinking, you just think you're thinking. You're only fulfilling the psychology that you've been given. You have to devoid yourself of that. When we talk about killing yourself and becoming selfless and self-annihilation, what are we doing? You're going to kill the false psychology, the illusion of who you are, the script to make you an obedient servant, to make you conform and bow down to the matrix and continue to be a slave zombie. This part 2, this King Noble Black Supremacy. Join my website, www.kingnobleuncensored.com. Donate and don't hate.